and welcome to News Tonight with me, Deepthi. Before we move into all the stories for today in detail, let's have a quick look at the top headlines. It's official, Chidambaram will head the Spectrum panel deciding how much companies should pay for Spectrum. Abu Jundal reveals Pakistan ISI officer Major Sameer's role in providing cartridges and logistical support for 2611. The Supreme Court dismisses the disproportionate assets case against Mayawati on a technicality, pulls up the CBI for overstepping its brief. Sri Lankan Air Force personnel will be moved out of Tamil Nadu following intense opposition from political parties. The Madras High Court lashes out at advocates saying that they behave like rubber stamps. Calling the transfer of Rishi Raj Singh inappropriate, BJP has requested the centre to put it on hold. The CBI court has granted Enforcement Directorate permission to quiz Jagan in the alleged illegal assets case. In an apparent dig at Dhoni, Sehwag has said that India won the 2011 World Cup because of a good team. Federer reaches a record 8th Wimbledon final as he stuns world number 1 and defending champion Joko. News in detail. A day after major political parties in Tamil Nadu strongly objected to Sri Lankan Air Force personnel being trained in Chennai, the Defence Ministry has decided to send back all the 9 trainees. The Jawans had arrived recently at the Tambaram Air Force Station in Chennai for a 9-month training period. It is still, however, not clear though whether they would be sent back home or shifted to another Air Force training base within India. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha's demand for putting an end to Indian Air Force base at Tambaram has triggered political reverberations, with Union Shipping Minister G.K. Vasan supporting the AIADMK leader's line. He said that the ongoing training of Sri Lankan troops at the Tambaram Air Base is a matter of concern, considering the cruelties faced by Tamils in Lanka. News from the National Front. Relief for Mayawati as the Supreme Court quashed a disproportionate assets case against her, terming it as illegal. It also pulled up the CBI for initiating the probe against her without specific directions, stating that it had never asked the CBI to investigate Mayawati's alleged disproportionate assets, while ordering registration of FIR into the 17 crore Taj Heritage Corridor scam. While the CBI had said that there was ample evidence to show that she had amassed wealth disproportionate to her known sources of income, Mayawati claims that she had received the money as donations from party workers.
आज माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो फैसला दिया है, अर्थात मुझे जो राहत दी है, उसका मैं और मेरी पार्टी दिल से स्वागत करती है.
The Honorable Supreme Court has clearly indicted the CBI by saying that the CBI had exceeded its jurisdiction. It had no power to lodge an FIR under the orders of the Honorable Supreme Court of 18/9/2003. It had misread the order and deliberately misread, and on the basis of that, abusing its power, it had been harassing the leader of the party, Sushri Mayawati.
CBI is the premier investigation agency of the country. Onus goes on the CBI to book the culprits. CBI had lot of material evidence against the culprits in this matter, and CBI has got a setback in the Supreme Court because of technical reasons only.
जब CBI सरकार के नीचे काम करती है तो उसका नियत पर मुझे सदा संदेह रखता है. CBI में अच्छे लोग हैं और कोर्ट की मॉनिटरिंग में बड़े अच्छे काम करते हैं. 2G में उन्होंने बहुत काम किया. वहाँ भी जब उनको छूट मिल गई तो जम्मू को छोड़ दिया. तो इस तरीके से ये तो एक बड़ा अपमान है CBI के लिए. CBI को सफाई देना चाहिए.
We will have to look into the judgment and see what the Supreme Court has said, because what I can see is that there is no clean chit, but this judgment is against CBI, not in favor of Mayawati. And judgment has also shown that CBI does not work professionally, but it functions politically. And this lack of professionalism in CBI leads to this kind of situation. And it also shows that CBI is not honest in its functioning. And therefore, they allow those who are involved, those who are corrupt, they go scot-free because of the behavior or because of the functioning of the CBI.
Very, very unfair to say that this has anything to do with the politics of the country. Supreme Court is autonomous, independent and a highly respected institution of our country. It's a constitutional institution and the Supreme Court decides according to its wisdom and we all have to follow. Whatever we have to say or any agency has to say is said before the Supreme Court and then the judgment of the Supreme Court is final. So I think to link it with any other motive or to link it with any other relationship or link it with any event would not be fair at all.
After Sharad Pawar refused to head the EGOM, it finally fell on P. Chidambaram's lap as he will now be heading the Spectrum panel. The panel has also been rejigged and it will consist of 7 members. A.K. Anthony, Ambika Soni, Kapil Sibal, Salman Khurshid, Montek Singh Ahwalia and V. Narayanaswamy are the new members. This development comes a day after it was announced that the Union Cabinet will be taking the final call on the prices of telecom spectrum. Chief Minister Jayalalitha announced upgrading 100 state-run high schools into higher secondary schools, allotting over 40 crores for this purpose. Further, 900 postgraduate teachers' vacancies will be created in these upgraded schools, besides 100 headmaster posts. The government states that with this, the twin objectives of rural students getting access to education, besides employment generation, will be met. Now let's move across to our correspondent Salim, who is in conversation with TNPSC Chairman Natraj as he briefs on the arrangements in place for the Group 4 TNPSC exam scheduled tomorrow.
Thiru R. Natraj, Chairman TNPSC. Sir, Group 4 examinations are scheduled tomorrow. Please tell us what sort of arrangements are in place. Are the examination halls fitted with CCTVs?
Now, the examination will be held in 244 centers, that is taluk centers. In some taluks, more than one place you will hold it. It's a big taluks. And we have chosen over 5,000 venues, examination centers, 5,000 venues like schools and colleges in all the taluks, which I said. And in all these venues, that is schools and colleges, videography will be there and the entire examination process will be videographed. The most important process in this is the question paper reaching the taluks, the treasury. Now, in all the places, the question papers have reached. And from there, mobile vans will take the question papers to the centers. And in all the centers, we have chief invigilators. And then in rooms, we have other invigilators. Now, yesterday, all the chief invigilators in their respective districts have been summoned and detailed briefing has been given to them. The videography basically will be at the time of opening the question paper, exactly say about 15 minutes before the start of the examination. The seals will be checked and it will be opened. And it will be distributed to the rooms, and from the rooms it will be to the candidates, to the people who appear for the examination. So that is the system, and they'll be seeing all the places will be videographed. Again, after receipt of the answer sheets, the completed answer sheets, it will be again put in a cover, sealed, and that will also be videographed. These are the critical areas. So this is the whole process, and we are fully geared, and all the collectors we have already held meetings with the collectors, and the last 2-3 days the activity is going on in all the places as per our schedule. We got the entire schedule laid out, and it is going on as per our schedule. And on the day of the examination, that is tomorrow, we'll be getting SMS alerts on the progress, the timeline which we are given, and the progress that is taking place. So everything is in place.
In another scene, the Madras High Court has slammed magistrates saying that they behave like rubber stamps, observing that they mechanically remanded people without even recording the statements of the arrested. Shocked by the telltale marks of torture borne out by injuries on a teenager arrested in connection with a theft complaint, Justice Chandru stated that it was a magistrate's duty to record injuries of the person, if any, and record his statements as well. The matter has been posted to July 10th for further hearing.
இன்று நீதிபதியின் முன்னே அந்த நபர் நிறுத்தப்பட்ட பொழுது நீதிபதி அவர்கள் அட்வொகேட் ஜெனரல் அவர்களையும் பப்ளிக் ப்ராசிக்யூட்டர் அவர்களையும் இது போன்ற புகார்கள் இந்த நீதிமன்றத்திற்கு இனிமேல் வந்தால் நான் கடுமையாக நடவடிக்கை எடுக்க வேண்டி வரும். சித்திரவதை செய்த பின்னரும் சித்திரவதையே செய்யவில்லை, அந்த நபரை நாங்கள் சரியாகத்தான் வைத்திருந்தோம் என்று சொல்லுவது சட்டத்திற்கு புறம்பானது. எல்லா அதிகாரிகளும் இதனால் பாதிக்கப்படுவார்கள் என்று எச்சரித்தார்.
A conversation between a reporter and an IAS officer on how the police officials are being bribed, which was recorded through a spy cam, went on air in a national channel, sending shockwaves, which eventually ended with the IAS officer being suspended. We'll move across to our correspondent Salim, who has more on this.
A reporter of a private television channel entered into a conversation with the IAS officer. The IAS officer was actually unaware of the fact that the reporter was recording the conversation. It was actually an off-the-record talk. But the reporter, with the help of a spy camera, recorded the entire conversation. They were actually discussing about how people in the department are being bribed by the outsiders. And the conversation went on air yesterday in the national channel. And today the government announced the suspension of the IAS officer. When contacted, sources close to the IAS officer told us that the IAS officer was not aware that the reporter is recording the conversation and it was an off-the-record talk.
We'll move to a short break now. Stay with us.